This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Big news coming out of Georgia today with the Judge McAfee, presiding over the criminal organized crime, effectively conspiracy case against Donald Trump and others to interfere with the Georgia election and throughout the country. It was supposed to just be a hearing that he was presiding over about logistics of the October 23rd trial about what we thought was only 2 of the 19 co-conspirators, the 2 that wanted speedy trial, Ken Chesebro, Sidney Powell. Ken Chesebro being one of the architects of the fake elector scheme, and Sidney Powell, co-captain of Team Crazy and in charge of the 0-60 losing record in litigation cases around the country. Those 2. That's what we thought. But that's not what happened at the hearing. What happened at the hearing is we learned 2 things, and that's the subject of this hot take. 1, there could be an additional 6 defendants sitting next to Chesebro and Powell. Could be 8 people tried of the conspiracy on October the 23rd. I'll tell you why that is, because we always thought it was, as I joked, table for 2, Chesebro and Powell, come on down for your trial. It could be table for 8. And the judge said, we'll just get new chairs and benches in here and make it work. I'll tell you why that is. But the bigger news is there's a potential plea deal that's going to be offered to Powell and or Chesebro by the prosecutors. How do I know? Because the judge asked in open court, everything's televised. The judge asked in open court to the prosecutor, Mr. Wade from Fani Willis's team. He said to Mr. Wade, is there a chance that there's going to be a plea deal? The judge literally asked the prosecutor, is the state in a position to make one in the near future? To which Mr. Wade responded, Judge, I believe that we can. We'll sit down and kind of put some things down together, and we'll reach out to defense counsel individually to extend an offer. That's easy to interpret. The prosecutors are going to make a plea deal to both Powell and Chesebro to have them not be tried and possibly convicted and sentenced up to 20 years for conspiracy, but instead cooperate fully and truthfully with the prosecutors against Donald Trump and all the rest of them. Now we're going to see. This is where the rubber meets the road. We know, or rubber meets the liberty of these 2. We know that the prosecutor is going to put together an offer because McAfee is watching. How MAGA are these 2? Are they willing to risk being convicted in Fulton County, Georgia, a tremendously blue location for a trial of this nature, if you know what I mean, and risk getting sentenced up to 20 years because they're members of that cult and they follow their fearless leader, Donald Trump, anywhere? Or does their personal liberty matter to them and telling the truth to the prosecutors? We're going to find out because McAfee wants to know. So somewhere between now and the 23rd or the 21st of October, when they start interviewing jurors, and Scott McAfee's ready. He's already told his bailiffs and the people responsible for the jury pool, bring down 900 potential jurors. And he also announced this is going to be a 3 to 5 month trial of just the 2 co-conspirators, Powell and Chesebro, with Fridays off. He'll be you'll be hearing the groans of the jury as they're selected about being told at the end it's a 3 to 5 months trial. So plea deal, big news. But second big news coming out of it is we always thought it was just literally Chesebro and Powell on the 23rd, and everybody else had backed away and said, we don't want to go that fast. We waive our speedy trial. And a lot of the defendants did, particularly 11 out of the 17 remaining co-conspirators, including Donald Trump and Giuliani and Meadows, waived their speedy trial, meaning they don't have to go on the 23rd of October with the other 2, per the judge. But 6 haven't. And we're getting to the bottom of who the 6 are. It's a number of the fake electors and the Georgia former Republican Party people. And since they haven't waived, the judge announced today, I said if you waived, you didn't have to go on the 23rd. But if you didn't waive, you do. So we'll just bring in new tables and chairs and we'll make room for up to maybe 6 more people. So we could have a trial of 8 people, meaning Fani Willis's team, which I'm sure is well prepared, is going to put on a case about up to 8 of the 19 people in this co-conspiracy. Now, I've already done a hot take to explain what happens when she tries a case with less than the entire group of co-conspirators. Fortunately, it's the future trials won't really know about what happened here. If she wins, hooray, she'll get more flipping. She'll get more people cooperating down the chain, I'm sure, because they just saw what happened. But if she loses, she keeps trying her cases, right? And that's the problem with having multiple trials. You can't have inconsistent jury verdicts. Multiple juries hearing similar evidence can conclude different things. It happens. Probably won't happen here, but it could happen. And so she'll learn if she loses, and she'll use it to her advantage if she wins. So she gets sort of a dress rehearsal. And the way they do it, as I described it, is, if they only have 2 or they have 8 now at a trial, they put on the entire case. They talk about the grand conspiracy in broad language and how everybody played a role. And then they drill down and focus on the role of each individual defendant that is actually there in front of that jury. So they'll have a Ken Chesebro week or 2 or a month. They'll have a Sidney Powell week or 2 or a month where they've combined and organized the evidence, the witness testimony, the documents about that individual person so as not to confuse the jury. And if they have more than that, then they keep going. They're almost like chapters in a book, right? They explain the overall arc of the story of the book to the jury. That's the conspiracy. And then chapter by chapter, chapter 1, Ken Chesebro, chapter 2, Sidney Powell, and so on and so on. And then they reset like a big Etch-a-Sketch. They do it all again in the next set of trials down the road. 2 big developments today on one hearing, a procedural hearing to set the logistics for the trial. We learned 1, right? Pop quiz. Could be another 6 people sitting next to Chesebro and Powell. We'll know. I think this hearing today will motivate those that don't want to go on the 23rd to file their waivers of speedy trial. And we'll suddenly see a whole flash of them filed, and we'll follow it here on the MeidasTouch Network. And 2, could be a plea deal. Doesn't mean Powell and Chesebro and/or are going to take it and testify ultimately against Donald Trump to support the evidence establishing the conspiracy to interfere with the election in Georgia and in other places, but it'll be offered. And we know that from reporting today from people that were in the room, and we bring it to you here. We catch news stories like this. We look at them, we analyze them, and using our collective experience, 32 years trial lawyer, I bring it to you exclusively in one place, the MeidasTouch Network on YouTube. And if you do, please, you want to help, right? You want to, as our president, Joe Biden said, you want to help defend democracy? Join the movement here. The bigger the network gets on the subscription base, the subscriber base, the more powerful your voice is, the more you resonate. Because we at Legal AF, yes, it's what you think, and I'm one of the leaders of it with Ben Meiselas and Karen Freeman-Ignifilo, we sit at that intersection of law, politics, and justice, and we bring it to you on a podcast on Wednesdays and Saturdays called Legal AF. And you can get the audio version if you don't want to watch us on YouTube. But why don't you want to watch us on YouTube? And then you can follow me on hot takes just like this one exclusively right here. Leave me a comment. It helps. Give me a thumbs up. It helps with the ratings or the algorithm. And until my next hot take, until my next episode of Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.